Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Wow.
It's fantastic. You know why?
It's great.
Because welcome. This is episode 44 of the NgoVo Convo podcast where two stupids make it. Oh, I can't bend back. Whoa.
Oh.
Hype.
And right. But hype.
It's too hype. I can't.
We'll get into why he's hosting
Oh,
today
I'm so
in a
hyped.
second.
Because I'm one of your hosts, Harrison now, and I'm joined by Veronica Vo.
It's me.
It's her.
It's me. It's me.
It's also me. But if you're new here, we both just want an excuse to talk about anything that ranges from anime to comics. Some would say conversing.
Wow, like NgoVo Convo. NgoVo Convo. Beat you to it.
Do I even try to? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, if you don't know how to spell our last names, that's it. What Veronica said. But you can watch every episode on youtube.com or listen to it as a podcast by searching up NgoVo Convo on your podcast service of choice.
We're everywhere.
Today, Veronica. Today is the day because in this episode we're going to talk about the Batman.
Wow.
That hurt my voice.
And by the way, I'm supposed to be hosting this, but
She
the
wanted
reason
to give
why
you the reins.
Harrison, no. But also, I just got back from the dentist office with a cavity filling, and my left side's a little numb. So
Yeah. It's okay. I'll be talking most of the time anyway. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
But vengeance. It's okay. Vengeance.
I am vengeance. He is vengeance. We are vengeance.
If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. Honestly, if anyone is and I will talk about it a bit more in our non-spoiler spot. But yeah, go watch it. Come back.
3 hours long.
It is 3 hours long. Is it worth it? I say yes.
Yeah, it's worth it.
We could talk about that. Yeah, please come back whenever you do. Where it's gonna be here.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Pause.
Like give it a like.
Video. Subscribe to us.
On the way out, you
On
just
the way
keep it on, and then come back, and it's easy. It'll be right there.
Keep
the
the tab open. We'll be right here.
Do not worry.
Don't you worry.
But yeah, also before we get into it, we are sponsored by Anchor, and we'll get into that later.
Much later.
Veronica.
Harrison.
Veronica.
Yes, Harrison. Also, it's a special episode because it's our birthday episode.
That is true. Greatest gift.
The greatest gift to us.
So good. All right, I guess we'll start with you, Veronica. What did you think of the Batman?
I am a
2022
Batman fan.
version.
So I was very excited. Okay, first of all, we are both Batman fans, like huge Batman fans. 2, I have loved Robert Pattinson since Harry Potter and a Goblet of Fire and his Twilight days. So I have been fangirling over this man for a very long time, and now finally the men get to fangirl over him.
I saw a meme, and it was on not a meme, but it was like a TikTok, and it was like how to get someone to watch, or essentially how to get your significant other or man to watch this show, and it could be flipped. And it was like, hey, do you want? And it was like back in Twilight days. Hey, do you want to see a man that's like somewhat of a bat and brooding and is just like super like
and sparkles?
Not even that, but it's just like brooding and bat, and I'm like, and they're like, ew, no. And then like fast forward a decade, same criteria,
same thing,
and it's like yes.
So I've been very excited about this since they've announced Robert as Batman in like 2018. So I was just very excited. And Zoe Kravitz, I'm a big fan of her.
She did really good.
I'm just a big fan, but mostly a big fan of Robert.
Dude, actually, the whole cast is very stacked when you look at it.
Oh, yes. Very.
It's actually really stacked.
I enjoyed it very much.
What was it? Robert, it's Batman, Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman.
Paul Dano, Riddler. Yeah,
Colin Farrell.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright as Gordon. Colin Farrell as Penguin was like, I did not recognize the man. Andy Serkis as Alfred. I was like, dang. Stacked.
Right. But yeah, I was very excited. I love Batman, love Robert. Combo together, heart. That's how I felt. That is
What
all.
about the movie though?
The movie's also great. But I
You're so
mostly love
focused.
Robert.
Oh my god.
No, okay, walking into this, it was 3-hour movie. And I think the last 3-hour movie we went to see was Eternals, and that was a great disappointment. But, you know, there's that. So I guess like walking into this, I was like, okay, it's 3 hours. How is the pacing? Because a 3-hour movie, pacing's usually really bad.
Yeah.
And then 2, I was wondering how this movie would compare to the Dark Knight trilogy. Because I walked into it, I was like, Christian Bale is my favorite. Christian Bale, Heath Ledger, the Dark Knight trilogy. I was like, okay, I think I'll just let that go and just, because this is its own movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it was great. It was really dark, really gritty. I was like sweating. My armpits were very sweaty right next to you. I was like, oh
we
god.
both freaked out at the same
I know.
bits. And we were both like,
oh god.
oh god.
I was holding on to his arm for like a good chunk of it. I was like, I was like gnawing at Harrison's biceps.
It was pretty funny. But in the meantime, I was just like, we'll get into that. It's just,
yeah, we'll get to it. But yeah, overall, great. Those were my 2 questions walking into it, and then when we talk about our spoilers, I'll answer the 2 questions. How are you, Harrison? Non-spoiler thoughts?
I thought it was. I woke up, like, I slept on it. I was like, I don't want to just get on the hype train. I want to sleep on this movie, and I loved the trilogy. It was funny
I
because
think a lot of people do.
I would hope. And I know a lot of people will compare it to that because it is honestly like a really good Batman movie, cinematic standard, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, non-spoiler thoughts, I felt that this movie delivered more of what I would want in Batman overall. So as of right now, and it could change over time, but right now, after thinking about it, I think this is better than the trilogy in my opinion. But it's mainly because it hits what I enjoy about Batman. Because I talked to my fiance about it because she saw it 2 days after us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what she wants to rewatch it or rewatch the Dark Knight trilogy. And I would like to do that as well, just to solidify my thoughts. But overall, I think this is it was really good, dark and gritty. Robert Pattinson killed it as Batman, honestly. But also the cast did a really good job. And there was a lot of people, but and then the timing, like I think the big thing was it was 3 hours, and I love that you mentioned Eternals because Eternals felt long. Like I was checking my watch a lot more, while here it was like I checked it twice, only to check how long has it been? How long do we have? And I was like, at some point I'm like, oh, it's 2 hours. We still got an hour. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
As in like we still have more to like delve into
to go through. Yeah.
So
no,
it was just a lot of. I liked it a lot. I think it delivered a lot, and I'll explain it a bit more in our spoilers section. But overall, I recommend everyone to watch it. I think I would give it a solid like 9 out of 10 for sure. Because I think Dark Knight, because I would say Dark Knight's 10 out of 10 based on memory. I don't know how I actually, and we
should watch it. And then,
again, we should. We talked about this. We should do a ranking on Batman stuff. I'd totally be down to watch. A lot of people did it. I'm like, oh man, we should have done it too, but I've been busy.
Speaking of watching stuff, I actually watched Year One and Long Halloween Part 1 and 2 after watching this movie.
Those are good ones to watch after, actually.
Yeah, because the director, Matt Reeves, he was inspired by those 2 movies.
Yep.
Yeah. It was interesting. It was good.
Yeah. So if anything, if you, for some reason, you need to wait and watch and you need to prep, those are actually the 2 movies I recommend because it's heavily built on those, and specifically Long Halloween with the story.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
With a hint of Batman Hush. There's like a hint of it.
Oh, a hint of it, yeah.
Like
a little sprinkle.
It's like little sprinkles. But the big emphasis is that it would pull from Long Halloween, and the Batman would be kind of from Year One. Because it's his second year.
His second year.
It's year 2. Year 2 Batman.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, go watch it. But yeah, we're going to get into
great.
spoilers.
It's honestly great.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
So, spoiler mode in 5, 4, 3, 2,
2.
1.
One. Oh
That's a
no.
clip.
I can't count. Oh no.
It's okay. Batman's that much of has that
A
effect.
Yes.
Because speaking of, I would be terrified because if this one, like everyone in that, he had that presence of being fucking
In the
scary.
shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can we just like talk about that first scene? Because it was dark. I was sitting next to Harrison because we saw it with like a bunch of like our friends, basically a sausage fest, and then me. But
confirm.
we like that first scene came up, and you see like a side character. He's talking on the phone, but what you don't realize is that the Riddler's right behind him. And I had to blink twice to see him.
I will say I didn't notice till you freaked out, and then I
know.
started looking. I was like, "What is she?" Then you see the little two eyes.
Yeah, the two eyes.
It's just two eyes, and it's
Yeah.
like the typical like comic book white eye thing that happened.
No, because I started gasping, and Harrison's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Look." I was like,
Oh,
"Just
and
look."
it wasn't just you. You start hearing like murmurs in the theater too.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I was just like, "Oh."
But no, even at the time that we didn't know it was a Riddler.
No, honestly, did not.
Like I was like, is this
that
Batman?
that trailer gypped us a lot.
Yes, because yeah, and he did a really good job because the whole time, and that's the other thing. This is another. We'll expand on that, but it starts with someone. It starts with the POV of like looking through binoculars,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like looking at the mayor's like house, and it's like, oh, the
House,
kid.
yeah.
He's like just watching and everything.
He's playing with his kid.
Yeah, and then you start realizing like at first I was like, oh, this is Batman. Why is he?
Yeah, I thought it was Batman too.
Because I was like, oh, it's year 2. Yeah, he doesn't have the gadgets, maybe. I don't know, but ended up
Then,
being
like,
Riddler.
Yeah, and then it pans into the mayor's office, and then he's just like watching TV, and then he picks up a phone call,
Yeah,
and while
'cause
he's
watching
picking
the
up the
election.
phone call,
Yeah,
it's the eyes, and I freaked out.
but and then it's like one of those like, and it was like the most like I'd say not movie-esque like how he went about it. Like this is us like going to detail. Like this is not a big deal, but I
Yeah.
just thinking about it, I appreciate that Riddler just screamed and ran, and he's like, oh! And he just like
Yeah.
he just started beating on
Just
the mayor.
bashing him. Yeah,
But
that scared me. And the music. Oh, the music's so good.
the
too,
music's
soundtrack.
so good.
It's so good.
The theme is one of the best themes in a long time, and I say that because the last good one was probably like Dark Knight series, and
Dark Knight. Yeah.
and I know we're gonna probably skip over Batfleck a lot because honestly,
Yeah, a little bit.
but I will, and we're gonna be jumping around too because there's so much I want to like just
Dive
pick on and
into.
dive in. But I guess honestly, overall, I think Robert Pattinson did a good job because it had like detective vibes and everything this whole movie, and I thought that was really
Oh, yeah.
fun.
And they introduced the diary that Batman always writes in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think in the other movies he's
I don't-
ever, that has not been like a big presence.
No.
Like maybe like a notepad, like a little notepad, but not like an actual like diary notebook that he just like scribbles in.
Yeah. It's actually really interesting.
Yeah, his
Um,
eye contact was really cool.
Okay, that was
Really
cool
cool.
because that was from the comics straight up. Because I remember
Yeah.
when he did that, me and our other friend was like sitting there. He's like, "It's from the comics." Oh my god! Because I remember reading that issue, and I'm like, they took out the contact and everything.
Yeah.
But I love that the feel of this movie. The setting is a mix, and it's like a mix of like the 1960s, 40s. It's
Yeah,
like old, like it's around there, and then modern times.
modern times. It's like a mixture of both.
But so modern that this is what Batman Beyond felt like too, to an extent sometimes. But not
Yes.
as much. But then
But
not as much.
Yeah.
Like not super futuristic, but the vibes were there sometimes too.
Yeah, no. Man, the great detective vibes. We were actually talking about it in our last episode. We were like, oh, we hope to see some detective work here, or like something detective vibes.
And it's all that's
and
the
it's
entire
just-
thing. Until
yeah.
like maybe the last 30 minutes.
30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't even say that's the last. It's kind of last act, but maybe we'll get to that. But
Yeah.
I guess really quick, because I know we can gush about it. Was there anything that was like iffy to you about the movie?
The only kind of like issue I had because I slept on it too, and I think the only issue I had with Bruce, that Robert did. So I understand that Bruce has to be like this emo guy, kind of like lonely emo, but I thoroughly enjoy the Playboy trope of Bruce Wayne a lot.
You and my fiance both. That is
No,
one thing that's the big thing
yeah,
that she wanted.
That's
as
the
well.
big thing that I wish he did, but I understand that he had to be the awkward, lonely, emo man before going into like the Playboy rich guy.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing that I just did not enjoy about Bruce Wayne.
I think the closest thing, which me and my fiance talked about, the closest moment was when he was waking up the next morning and Alfred's like dressed up nice and all that, but he comes down in like his like black t-shirt, black pants, and he puts on sunglasses because it's super bright. And it's not even because he drank that night, it's just because it's so bright.
It's so bright. Yeah.
I vibe with that.
Honestly, you do. But yeah, that's the only thing that really like, that I had like a really big gripe with, was that Playboy Bruce wasn't here to play.
Yeah. No, I get that. And it's one of the things I was talking to my fiance about it, and I'm like, it makes sense though, because it makes sense.
We've only seen Playboy Bruce Wayne. Most of the time movies,
it is like that.
It's like that. George Clooney has been like that. Christian Bale was even like that. Even Ben was like that.
Yeah. I mean, and like it's always like fun to see the dichotomy of like how he handles it. And I will touch on that really quick. But yeah, I agree. It was missing, but for me, I think that's like, I don't take that as much of like as like a big thing that would affect, like, not affect me, but like it didn't bother me as much. I guess
it didn't bother you. Yeah. I know.
Because to me,
it bothered me a little bit.
I guess because in my eyes, and I wanted to explain this before, but it was essentially like Bruce Wayne is his mask in reality, and they touch on that at the end. Like, this is Batman is the real him. But I think after this movie, he will be he'll probably try to play more of the Playboy role, or just, billionaire role.
He's the billionaire role. Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll actually like he'll delve into both the worlds both lives that he has, essentially.
Oh yes.
But
yeah, what about you? Any gripes? Anything you did not like? That you can think of?
I think maybe and it's like probably the only negative is, and it's not even that big a deal for me. Like, honestly, there's not that many negatives, but I think it was just more like, what was it? I think I'm trying to think. Did you feel like they had too many people, or did you feel like they juggled it pretty well?
I think they juggled it pretty well.
Okay.
In my opinion, I think they could have done better in maybe cutting some parts or adding certain characters into it.
Yeah.
But I think they did what they could in a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. I guess like there are times when, I don't know, I guess I need to sit on it a bit more. I thought I had negatives, but in all honesty, it wasn't even like that big of a negative. Like, I was like, no, movie was long. No, it was fine, honestly. Because I think some people are like, oh, some things felt dragged out, but I felt like some moments just needed to be that way. Like, him just driving down to like follow Catwoman, for instance. I'm like, or follow like any leads. I'm like, the length of time it takes. It feels just more organic versus just like, they start driving, other shot right here, and then they arrive. I get that expedites it, but if I'm here to watch a movie, I'm here to watch a movie, and if it serves its purpose, then it works. Eternals had like a lot of really good cinematic shots that does make the movie pleasant to watch.
But they couldn't juggle the past and present timelines.
Yeah,
that was one issue.
While here, it just felt like no time. Honestly, for me personally, it didn't feel like any time was wasted, and everything kind of served its purpose.
Yeah.
Like
No,
even
I
like
totally
I
agree
said,
with
like
that.
I was just curious because like on my other podcast on Superboss, that was like one point of contention of like it felt like that there was too many characters, but I feel like you didn't have to focus on a lot of them.
Yeah,
And
no.
I think the only negative for me, really, and it was not that big a deal again, is just keeping up with names because they sometimes changed it. Like the commissioner was Pete, and then the DA, and again, I just remember their titles. I just don't remember their names.
Yeah,
But
their
that's not
names.
honestly, that's not a big
It's
deal
not a big deal though.
because in a mystery show or like a detective show, you always have those tropes like, oh, these are the people that died. Now we're gonna try to figure out this mystery. It's someone
Yep.
that you probably So let me see.
Else.
Really quick, we're just gonna take a quick break to talk about our sponsors.
On today's episode, we are sponsored by Anchor. It is a free podcast hosting service that we actually use. We've been using Anchor since we've started the podcast. It's because there are creation tools that allow us to record and edit the podcast right from our phones and computers. A huge plus for us is that Anchor would distribute our podcast to all platforms such as Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and many more. It really is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one spot. Please download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, anchor.fm to get started.
And we're back.
Wow, we're back.
Gave me enough time to figure out what to
My goodness.
So I guess I'm going to kind of go down what I thought was nice. I thought, because this is so much easier to talk about what I can gush about.
Ooh, what is it?
So I love I'm just going to pick on little things. Like I love the relationship between Bruce and Gordon.
That's so funny.
It's like such a buddy cop thing.
Yeah, it is.
It kind of was. And those were like the funny moments. But because there weren't really any like ha ha. I don't think there was any. Well, besides,
I think there was one line where Batman was like, "No guns," and then Gordon's like, "Yeah, man, that's your thing."
Yeah, that's your thing. Nah.
Nah, man.
I just like even like the thumb drive. It's like drive, thumb drive, and it's like you put the thumb on the drive. I was like, he's like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Because he saw it off the thumb, and I was like, damn, that's crazy.
I liked how the cops didn't trust him.
No,
Batman.
that was so
yet,
awesome.
Because I mean, they still called him a freak. Like he's still like an outsider.
Yeah. I mean, he's brand new, and he's just he's only connected to Gordon. Like no one else would trust him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. I also liked, not just the cops, but everyone. Like they do a very good job in showing like, oh, he always comes from the shadows. But like even that first fight when he was fighting the clown people, I don't know.
Yeah, the gang from the subway.
The gang in the first one. Like after he beats him up, even the guy that he saves technically was so scared of him.
Oh yeah.
So the presence is there. Did you also notice that most Batman in movies always have like this certain entrance, right? Like they always like fly in or they like drive in or something like that.
Or drive in. Dive in.
Yeah. In this one, like one, they play on the idea that he deals with fear a whole lot, and I appreciate that a whole lot because they gave him, and we talked about this on the other podcast, they gave him time to just walk. And that adds
I noticed
suspense.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. But
He
it just sounded
walks a lot.
hefty. It just sounded so hefty, and it was like kind of scary. The sound design in here is
those
really
boots
good.
were intimidating.
Yeah.
Especially in that scene where he was chasing Penguin in the car, and then the car flips, and then you just see the point of view like on a flipped car. You just see his boots just coming.
Yeah. And it's so scary. I was like, wow, I would be terrified. I would be scared.
I was terrified. Yeah.
What'd you think of the Batsuit?
Oh, I like it a lot. It was less dense than Christian Bale's, so I think that's why he was able to move more and fight more.
Yeah, for real.
If that made sense.
No, it makes sense.
Like I liked it a lot. It was like sleek. No nipples were coming out. Like
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it. I was waiting.
But also, I like the fact that they added in the makeup that he did.
Yes.
And
like
it stayed. Like whenever he took off the mask, like it didn't magically disappear.
Yeah.
you know, like movie magic, but like
Yeah.
it just stayed. And
But it's because it's something he had, because that's what he used to like cover his eyes and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what Robert does, every time, well, 90% of the time in this movie he was like in his Batman suit, was that he acted with his eyes a lot.
Yes, he was always looking around.
He was always looking around, and I really enjoyed that.
But it was super detective too, because it gives off the vibe of like he is scanning and like
he's scanning everything,
looking around his surroundings and just checking for everything, all the clues and such.
But also, damn, he got shot like a bajillion times in this movie.
He did.
Homie got shot like a lot.
The first fight straight up was like boom.
Yeah, but then you just hear the sound. Oh my gosh, the sound in this movie, like you hear it like ping off, and you just like it dings off, and you just like
you
what
just
the
know
heck?
like the soup's that good. It's crazy.
It is so crazy.
Because it's really cool because I played the video games for this, right? And there's this one from Telltale, and it's just like the Batman Telltale games. The director Matt Reeves actually said that he pulled a lot of inspiration from that game too.
Oh, that's cool.
Because the armor is supposed to be like that.
Oh, okay.
I'll send it to you later. But essentially, like, he pulled it from that, and it just looks so good. Like, to me, this is...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is the best Batman armor ever.
I think so, too,
The best Batsuit.
And it's very, like... It feels very, like, 2022, like, work done to it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then it has the feel of, like, oh, he's still in... like the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, it's like also he kind of made it. You can kind of tell it has the modern look, but you can tell he kind of made it. Yeah. It's like kind of shoddy work, but it's still effective because he's the Batman.
Effective. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna
that Batman clip though on his chest. I thought he was gonna sling it at one point.
Dude, I think a lot of people are. This is the first. I don't think he used to grapple a lot more. But
yeah, he did.
A grapple in the way that kind of makes sense too.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the very end, I thought he was gonna pull it out and like throw it,
just sling it.
But
like
he just cut it.
Does.
He just used it to cut, and I was like, okay, you know what? That's fine. It's fine.
Hey, at least he used it.
Yeah, like, I didn't know if it was like so. I didn't know it was detachable or not. I was just like,
yeah, same.
Okay.
I thought it was just his logo, and then he like just like peels it off.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Wait,
can
we talk about the Batmobile?
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's really cool.
It's really cool. Like, again, like we kept saying, it's high tech, but also not.
Yeah.
Because the car.
But that intro to the car.
It would scare people. It would scare. It's supposed to scare people, right? I was just.
I was scared. The sound was so loud when the engine was like revving up. I was just like, oh no, this is scary.
Right?
Oh man. Oh, it's so good. It's so nice. It's like chunky.
I love the whole
chunky.
So speaking of the car chase, segueing into the Penguin.
Oh yes.
Colin Farrell did a fantastic job as Penguin.
Dude, that prosthetic. I could not recognize him.
I didn't recognize him straight up.
Did you know when he was when he finished up the prosthetics, he actually went to Starbucks and ordered a drink and no one recognized him. He ordered he was in an interview, he was like, yeah, I ordered this like oat milk latte and they were just staring at me really weird. And then he said, I totally forgot I had my prosthetics on for this from the Batman. And they just looked at me weird, like, why is this old man wanting like oat milk latte?
I know, yeah. Oh, that's so funny. No wonder. I was like, I was pretty sure it was prosthetics. I just didn't know. It just looked so good. I was like, wow. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's like some effects and all that, but still, overall, it looked amazing.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Let's see. Hold on. All right, we're gonna go to the whole. How did you feel about the Riddler?
So, I think as a kid, the Riddler. Okay. I'm gonna go back to like. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm about to talk about, but I remember as a kid, the Riddler was Jim Carrey, and I had no thoughts about the Riddler as a kid, or even now, because Jim Carrey scared the shit out of me in that movie. And not like scary, like horror scary, but scary like I don't want to see him ever again because he's not supposed to be funny scary, if you know what I mean.
No.
Oh,
keep
well,
going.
it's just Jim Carrey's just not.
He's
not meant to play this, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because, like, another movie that did freak me out as a kid was The Mask, which also just happened to be Jim Carrey as well.
Oh, Jim Carrey, yeah. And he was also green as well.
Oh, well, I guess Jim Carrey shouldn't play green characters, apparently.
Yeah, I guess not.
Huh.
But for this Riddler, for Paul, he terrified me. I was sweating at every scene.
Even when he wasn't there.
In. Yeah, even when he wasn't there. Even when he was just killing people, like, and he was offline, he just scared me.
Just seeing, like, just seeing, like, how they handled, how he, you know how he gives riddles? It's, like, super modern in a sense that it's just he used stream, or not just that, but he used streaming as well, or like live, like,
he had a following,
internet, yeah,
but
it really is just the cards, that's really all we got from him,
yeah,
sometimes. And
like the Riddler, I know is supposed to be based off of the Zodiac Killer, but Paul really did a number on me. But also Paul, I think the reason why he's a terrifying villain was that he did the same method as Heath Ledger did in The Joker. So I was like,
acting, right?
So it's basically method acting. But he really went into this role. And
I mean, he did a really good job. Like, it was terrifying.
And we didn't even see his full face until the last 30 minutes. Yeah. That's how terrifying he is without showing his face.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, did you feel that, because I think this is where, because we talked about in the other podcast, and this is where I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are, in that Luke from Duck, he thought that Riddler and Joker, his vision of Riddler and Joker are really close, and I can kind of see that, but I also don't know, did you get that? Because Luke's worry was like, this Riddler, so Paul Dano?
Yeah, Dano.
I just looked at the name. I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
But essentially, Riddler here and the Joker elsewhere, maybe Heath Ledger's kind of matched too much. Did you get that feeling, though?
I did not. To me, I thought that the Riddler is smart book-wise. That's why he does, like, riddles. Mm-hmm. And that the Joker is, like, more street smart, which is why he can steal X amount of money from banks or, like, kill.
Or I guess the motivations.
I guess the motivations, yes.
Or actually, no. He's saying like the actions were super similar, and no matter the motivations, it wouldn't change. And I'm only bringing this up not to like pin it on that, but I'm just curious because it is. When I look at it, sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, Riddler does have that vibe, but I think it's because the Joker from like The Dark Knight had that vibe, and normally Joker does not have that vibe, in my opinion. He's more like the Prince of Madness, right? He's all about chaos. He's
just crazy,
like, chaotic evil. While Riddler, his reasoning is more like he's trying to get back at the government, essentially, or trying to get back at like the high, like, the rich,
the higher ups, the rich. I don't think so. I think they're still on two different paths. They might have pointed in the same direction, like motivation wise, if you're looking at Heath Ledger Joker. Yeah. But to me, they were on two different paths, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious because I didn't feel that way at all, because I feel like there's enough, like, it's a modern take, and honestly it was a really good take in my opinion for the Riddler going forward. I was like, this is a nice take, and I think because with the Joker you could do whatever you want. Let's be real here, you could do whatever you want with the Joker, because at the end of the day,
people will still love the Joker.
All he is there to do is just to mess with the Batman. Literally, that's his goal. Yep. So whatever he does, any chaos he causes, it's all because he's trying
It's
to prove.
for the Batman.
That's why in Dark Knight he's trying to prove a point to Batman. So it's messing with Batman in a sense that he'll do whatever. So cool. While this one I think is different because Riddler felt like he was working with Batman.
Yeah, it did. Instead of against him.
Even though he said not really against him, but like working with him,
helping the Batman out.
Yeah, or the Batman helps him out with all this too.
Yeah.
He's like,
or the Riddler leading the Batman to like certain people.
Yeah.
But then like the Batman at the end of the day, Batman also helped out Riddler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he essentially did what the Riddler wanted
to do. Yeah.
Which I want to add. I think it was a nice touch that Batman ultimately didn't solve the. He did not riddle.
Solve this one. No.
No, he technically messed up.
Yeah, he messed up big time.
And it was so interesting because every other riddle along the way, he knew off the bat. He knew instantly. He knew all the small details, but once it came to the big picture, he just couldn't see it.
He just legitimately couldn't see it. Yeah.
And that just shows. I think that just shows that he's not like a veteran, and like not like a tenured Batman. He's like
a tenured. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He's not in his later years where he can see the big picture and look at it from like the sky. Yeah. No. But I don't fault him for this one because he's just in year 2. He's just starting out, Yeah.
How'd you feel about Selena Kyle in this one?
I thought it was a good take on Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because if I'm thinking about all the other Catwomans before, is Michelle Pfeiffer and Anne Hathaway, the two that I can think of on top of my head.
There's Halle Berry too.
Oh, and Halle Berry. Yeah.
Because she got her own movie, I remember.
Yeah, she did get her own movie. I think Zoe did a really good job in the fighting style.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like, I don't know if it was her like younger or earlier years, and I don't know if this was a costume take on her mask.
Oh, it's probably early years.
Yeah. I think early years, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she was a good Catwoman. I did not expect them to kiss twice. That really took a turn. Every time they kissed, I was like, oh.
The sexual tension is here.
The tension.
Except it's no longer tension. It's sweet, really.
Yeah. But I think Zoe did a really good job. She read all the comics, and I think she took bits and pieces and just made it her own afterwards.
They definitely did. I mean, Robert Pattinson did too. Like, he watched everything and read everything, right?
Yep. He watched everything and read everything.
Yeah. Which I think is also just as important.
Robert was actually advised from the director to not do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because Matt Reeves said that he wanted Robert to just do this as like a clean slate, like not compare himself to anyone else.
Because it is a big role. You tend to do that.
But Robert, in the end, he was like, it's a little too late because I've already seen all the movies.
It's hard to say that. No, it is hard to say that.
Yeah. And Robert's a big nerd, so he couldn't really even stay away.
No.
Yeah. How about you? What did you think about Catwoman?
I thought she was good. I like how they I like her take. I like how they kind of matches with year 1 Batman, how she's like a sex worker in this one.
Yeah.
But like essentially, and it was kind of the same idea where she had like a blonde roommate and everything, and it just had, I think blonde, I don't remember, but essentially had a roommate. I also got in trouble and then had to deal with it yeah. I also didn't expect them to pull, which it's actually comic accurate, but they made her in this one Falcone's daughter.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, that's really cool. At the very end, I was like, oh, I thought she was going to kill him.
Me too.
But she walked out. I mean, I did, it's one of those, you can't tell what they're going to do. But I was like, there's no way she's going to kill her. Or there's no way she's going to kill him. Someone else is going to kill him. Riddler's going to kill him somehow.
Yeah.
It's really good. I also liked how, jumping on how Batman is a new, Batman's still early on in his Bat career.
A Bat career?
Batarang, Batmobile, Bat career. Andy Serkis was also pretty good as Alfred. It's nicer to see like how he's like kind of like a younger Alfred that
Oh yeah.
seasoned, like not. I don't remember if they said he was a veteran or not, but essentially he was like the bodyguard for the Waynes too. It's not just like he's the butler,
Yeah.
but he's like their bodyguard.
They said that
right?
he was like an ex-Marine.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
for the
also kind of
family.
comes from I think it was year one, but
It's Earth 1 version.
Earth
of
one.
Alfred.
There is not year one.
Yeah.
Earth one.
Earth 1.
That's
yeah.
what it was. Earth one, and he teaches Bruce
who
to
trained
fight.
Bruce. Yep.
Good job.
I was kind of sad that Andy wasn't in this more.
Yeah.
I was a little sad. Maybe like I think 30 minutes max was all he had.
And I wonder because Matt Reeves did say that there's a longer version that he wants, like 4-hour version.
Oh
so
wow.
who knows?
Yeah.
But I thought, and this is the thing, there's so many characters that you're juggling. I think for what he did, like of course I wanted to see more Alfred. I want to see Andy do more. But I think for what he did, it was still good enough because
And it made an impact to Bruce.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah.
Because again, people want to see Batman, and honestly, that is probably the big reason why
That's the big reason.
they want to see more of Batman just doing his own thing. But it is interesting how in this one, it's even though he has all this technology, he can still he still had to lean on like others to help him somewhat.
Yeah.
So like Alfred having to help with the cipher, and he's like, "Oh, this is how you do the cipher," and like even though he'll solve it, but he still
needed help
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I also think one quick thing with it's kind of leads into like I'm just gonna pick at all the things I thought was interesting right at this point.
Okay.
I thought it was really cool that when they were talking when Alfred was talking about how his parents died. I thought it was cool how like at one point Falcone was like, "Oh no, your dad told me to kill," essentially.
Oh yeah.
But then like Alfred's like, "No," but that's why. But it's like your dad told me to kill. But then Maroni was mad, so then Maroni probably got him killed. But then Alfred's like, "No, your dad didn't want anyone killed. He just wanted in his moment of weakness, he just wanted someone to get threatened." But then Falcone went all the way and probably killed your dad. So it was like, oh, conflicting stories. And even at the end, he was like, "But also, who knows? It could have just been a random thug that needed money and just shocked them too fast." I like how they left the death ambiguous. Is what I'm saying.
It's because I think this was not an origin Batman story because we already know what happened.
I also love that they didn't do that. They didn't have the show scene again.
They didn't have a show scene again.
Didn't have to milk it. We know that his parents are dead.
Flashback. His parents are dead. Point blank. So I think that's a nice touch that they had 3 different routes to how or why his parents died.
Yeah. Like no one knows.
It's
still a mystery.
Yeah.
And I think that's still important for Batman too, because like I think in his early years, if he views criminals that way, like everyone's bad, it determines how he acts.
Yeah.
Like in his origin, in a sense, I think that's still good.
Oh, I have one little bit that I need to talk about. Let's talk about that vial of green liquid that he stabbed himself with in the stomach at the end.
Did you think?
That's looking like
it
Bane's.
Bane?
It was
Bane
Bane's
serum?
Yeah.
The Bane juice?
The Bane juice. Homie got the Bane juice right away.
Oh, man. We don't, and that's the crazy part. We don't know
but we're
what
just
he did in his first year.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know if he's encountered these guys either. We don't know if the Joker was put in because of Batman or if he was already just in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought
but we also don't know if it's like, But
it's an Easter egg.
It's true because the moment he stabbed himself, he like reacted really fast. So you don't know. You don't know. It really could have been.
Just don't know.
All right. Just another thing I want to add. I thought it was really cool how the parallel between Riddler and Batman was a thing. Or like how their upbringing was and everything. Because they're both orphans. Obviously, they're just brought up differently. And he says that at the end. But even like that. But it shows like at the beginning, we thought it was Batman. But it was the Riddler looking through binoculars. Yeah. But then Batman does the same thing when he's like spying on Catwoman. Yeah. And it's like, it's the same.
And they're both masked.
Yeah.
Masked men. Yeah. It works out.
It's the same thing. It's just, but their intentions are totally different. But the parallel is there. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Another item. We have to talk about this unnamed prisoner that lives next to the Riddler.
At the end?
At the very end. I
Who could it
mean,
be?
who could it be?
He just started laughing. I couldn't tell anything else though.
I know. I was like, oh. But then right after the movie, I had to look up who the actor was, and it's Barry. How do you say it? Keoghan?
I don't know how to say it.
I don't know how to say it.
But it's the guy from Eternals for me that I know of.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's the guy from Eternals.
I forgot he was in something else big too, right?
Yes, with Harry Styles, and it's like blanking on me what the movie is. It was a war movie. That's all I remember. Yeah. But this guy is
They brought in the Joker. I was like really surprised, but then also not, but also yes.
Yeah.
But I really hope they introduce him, but I hope they touch on other villains.
Oh, me too.
Because I think even though it's cool to see that Joker exists, I think it's still
he's been done too many times. Actually, every time.
Majority of the time, yes.
Yeah.
Most of the time, yeah.
I would like to see Poison Ivy. She was my
That'd
favorite
be cool.
growing up.
That'd be a cool take. Let me see.
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze would be a cool one. Yeah, again, I want to see more modernized ones because we have like all of them done before, but I want to see like we've gotten Bane
90s.
modernized technically too.
Yeah.
Technically Bane one. Like just get more people like that. I'd love to see that more. But it was so cool to see that Joker's a thing at the end.
Oh yeah.
It was
they
crazy.
didn't even have to. The funny thing is they didn't even have to show his face for us to know it was literally the
they just showed his hair. Actually, that was it.
Yeah.
They didn't really do anything else.
Yeah, they did nothing else.
Which is also interesting to think about because the beginning you see the clown gang or whatever kind of gang they are.
Yeah,
they're probably just wearing. It just happened to look like the Joker gang. You know, like how in Batman Beyond they have like the Jokers.
Yeah.
With the Z. I think that's what it was. I was like,
I think it was just coincidence.
It's probably coincidence. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? I think one. I think overall, the reason why, and I guess just to like talk about this now, the reason why I appreciate this movie so much is that it pulls a lot from the comics, and for me, that's just the source material. I think that's just really nice. Like they pulled from That Long Halloween. They pulled from like the Earth One line. They pulled from like even like the Telltale game. Like a lot of that this story almost kind of matches because of I forget in Long Halloween. They did touch on like his parents like background. Was that a thing?
A little bit, but not like it was like we didn't know how they died.
Yeah,
essentially.
Right. Or but like I'm talking more like how his mom was had like mental issues and all that, and she was in Arkham essentially. Oh
no, that wasn't in Long Halloween.
I couldn't remember because Telltale. This is a story from Telltale. They do all this, and I was sitting there. I'm like, this is just a Telltale game to it. I was like, what? Because they started delving into like how like Martha was in Arkham, but she took the Wayne's name, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're like the big families, but then they're also kind of corrupt, and it was just like, it delved on that so much. It was so good. But I think for me, it was just like they pulled like the suit was great. I thought the Batman was really good. I loved the detective feel.
The fighting was really good.
The impact of his punches, like in that first section, it just felt the weight and just.
It was great.
Oh,
man. Him flying down that building. Yeah. Oh my god, that was so good.
The suit.
Or the suit.
It was so really funny. Cool. It was really quick. He just pulled it up, and people.
And I think that was the first time he jumped because he hesitated.
Oh.
If I think when we rewatch it on like when it comes.
No, he did hesitate it. No, yeah,
he did hesitate. He zipped up. He hesitated. He turned around. He goes, well, gotta go.
Yeah, and just to add, this is why it's so consistent. Like it's a new Batman, right? He messed up. Like he flew down, but he like tried to grapple under the bridge, but he hit the. That was when I was like, ooh. He hit the bridge, flew off, hit cars, and he's like getting up. He's like, oh, like you could tell he's limping.
He like rolled off. You could just see him limping.
Yeah. And then one last thing I want to add that I liked a lot was we talked about Bruce. We talked about Batman and Bruce, like the identity, the dichotomy between the two.
Mhm.
I also, as much of a gag this was one of those like gag moments where he would walk up to the Iceberg Club, get get greeted by the twins.
The twins.
So the first, have you noticed how like he did it 3 times, right? So
Yeah.
first time he came as the Batman.
Yep.
Second time he came as Bruce Wayne, but he got in no problem.
Yeah, he got
right?
no problem.
And then the third time he did it as like just stealth. I've noticed that this is like the 3 ways he actually handles his situations.
Yeah.
Like how Batman in general would handle it, because sometimes he would use Bruce Wayne to like to handle certain problems,
To handle certain things.
and then if he can't, he'll go as Batman. Otherwise, he'll just do it as like or even, not just Batman stuff, but he'll do things stealthily just by himself.
Yeah.
Like this is the most grounded Batman, because he would sit there and like I say stealth as in like he'll just sit there on a motorcycle and like do surveillance, not in a batsuit
Cool.
though. Just
And
it's
it was
just him.
nice that he didn't have a fancy car to
No.
use
no.
or to get out of, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. That's why I was like, I think for this movie, it was just a refreshing take because he's not using his Bruce persona. Because usually, if he's a playboy, he could just drive around in nice cars, or he could be taken around and all that. But in this one, he actually
galas
he did he did it all by himself for a lot of things to like get information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I like this movie.
It was really good.
Yeah.
It was so good. The pace, the 3 hour. I know a lot of people complain about it being 3 hours, but to me, the pacing of it was really good because Robert or Batman needed to be at each of those points to get where he had to be at the end.
Right.
And I think it just made sense because if you cut out two points that he missed, like you wouldn't understand the whole story. And I think they painted this whole story like really well.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And then I think my final takeaway from this is it's just nice and refreshing to just have a standalone Batman movie. I kind of wish I said this at the beginning, because this is actually how I felt, in that we live in this like we live in a society.
Oh no.
I hate it.
We live in a society where just kidding.
No, but like we're so used to having to have like a universe of things. We have to keep up with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all in this podcast. We're like, oh, we have to watch all these movies.
Yeah.
And we have to get up to the next part. But in order to understand this, you have to watch this. Like, I think for the first time in a while, we don't have to do that. Like, yeah,
it's a
if you know
standalone
Batman. Yeah. And if you like Batman, just go watch Batman. This one's like one of those, it's a detective. Like, you get all the vibes. You don't have to know any prior details. You don't have to worry about, oh, this other hero came in. Who's that? Where did he come from? Like, everyone is self-contained in the Batman universe here. And it's just nice and refreshing to know that I could just watch this movie and enjoy it for what it is. And it's
nice to be reintroduced to Batman. You're basically getting like a reintroduction to Batman and Gotham.
And for those that do worry, this is not in the same universe as like, well, so far until the Flash movie comes out. Until the Flash movie comes out, let's be real here.
Yeah.
But right now it's slated as it is not in that universe. It is a separate universe.
It's just his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
until the Flash comes.
Yeah, let's be honest. But yeah, I just think that's the most refreshing thing, where I could just go into the movie. It's like, oh, I can just watch this movie. And and I will say at the very end, that's why at times I feel like I like this a bit more right now than The Dark Knight, because it is the Dark Knight trilogy. You technically don't have, and I get the argument. I've heard this too, and I get it. That's why it's not a big deal. But for me, it's just is the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, you don't have, you could watch the second movie without having to watch the first one. Let's be real. You'll get
true.
There's some relations that you're like, oh, who's this? Like, what's her name? I forget at the beginning. You know, like the girl that he was interested in at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which then ends up with dead for a bit. Rachel. Yeah.
Where's Rachel?
I was like, how did I not remember the name when I can remember the meme? Yeah, it's just, you'll miss out on maybe some things, but I don't.
Just a relationship.
Again, you don't have to, but overall, the trilogy kind of wraps up in a nice bow. So that's why I'm like, you kind of have to have the trilogy, but it's the same argument with like, oh, what's the best Marvel movie? And if someone says Endgame, I'm like, do you tie in Infinity War to that? You know?
Or like,
it's kind of hard, but right now for me, I think this one checks all the boxes for me that I enjoy in a Batman film.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I 100% agree. I can't wait for more. Robert said there's gonna be a second one.
If you want more, last question, sorry. Would you want it only in this universe, or would you like to see this integrated into the universe, the DCEU? At the rate they're going, I'm worried they will, and I actually don't. Just to answer it for you, I don't think I want that.
I don't want that. I want it to be its own standalone trilogy, like The Dark Knight.
Oh, I didn't mean to answer for you. I meant to answer before you. Lol.
Oh.
Anyway.
No, you answered for me.
Oops.
I would prefer if Robert was his own standalone Batman.
Yeah.
Because it's good on its own.
Like, keep it like Dark Knight.
Like, keep
you know
it
how Dark
Knight.
Knight's like on his own?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I would keep it like Dark Knight.
Yeah. Cool. Any final thoughts on that?
No, just go see the movie. It's
Just go see
really
the damn
good.
movie. I'll watch the movie again.
Yeah, same.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to close it out. Thanks for tuning in. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon at NgoVo Convo. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button.
Like button.
And notification
Subscribe.
bell. No, Veronica. Stop that. It's notification bell to get the updates for when we upload. And subscribe. That big red
It's
button.
big red button.
Big red button.
Big red button. Can't miss it.
But yeah, just let us know how we're doing, what you want to see next. If you want me to talk more about Batman, sure, why not? We'll just watch more Batman films.
we'll
I
just
don't
watch
care.
more.
Why not? Let's go. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.